Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how I created the Lotus Blossom Stampin' Up stamped image, and then I'm going to show you how I just made this outer cover for this notepad which I picked up in my local supermarket. This has been done in pistachio pudding, and the next one I'm going to show you is going to be done using Blackberry Bliss. These are also going to be a free giveaway. So for anybody that buys anything at all from me, no matter what size the order is, through my Stampin' Up shop in the month of April 2015, I will make one of these and send them out in the post as a thank you. So you may not get the exact colour. I'm planning to just use the Lotus Blossom, but it could be in any colourway. So to make this project, these were notepads that I picked up in Tesco's. They're called Jotter pads and they're like tall, slim pads. You'll need a piece of card which is going to be your main colour. So like on here, this is the green. So your piece of card for your main outer cover needs to be 2 7/8 by 10 inches. And then your piece of Whisper White to go over the top needs to be 2 5/8 by 8 inches. All the details will be on my blog. Again, the link will be below this video on YouTube. So I'm using the Stampin' Up Simply Scored scoring board, and I've got my piece of card with the 10 inches side running horizontal, and we need to just make 2 score lines. So for this size notebook that I've just shown you, we need to score at 8 3/8 and 8 6/8. And then I'm just going to fold and burnish to get nice crisp creases, and that's all we need to do at the moment for the notepad, and it should sit on there like that. And the way I've measured this is so that I have a little lip here so it's easy for lifting this up, because I'm going to stick the front cover to the inside of this card, but I'll show you all that in a few minutes. So that's that. And to stick all this together, I'm going to use the Tombow wet glue, again available in my Stampin' Up shop. So I'm going to position the notepad and turn it over. And then I'm just going to apply some of this glue on the section where I put the 2 score lines, so the thin section, which will be the top of the book, and on the flap. And I'm just going to hold it in place and just let it grab for a few minutes. Turn it over so it's face up. Just burnish the top here to let the glue set, and then I'm just going to apply glue all over this front cover. Just try and get into the corners. And then again, just give that a good firm press. And then I'm just going to put that on one side and do the stamping. So the Lotus Blossom stamp set comes with the 3 sections you need to make the flower, 2 sections for the stems, and then a thank you, which is just a generic, which is great for anything, and the kindness you show has no end, which I think is also lovely. So 7 stamp sets in this set, and it's three separate stamps to make the one flower head, which gives you this lovely kind of effect. It looks as though it's been drawn or watercoloured. Now mine looks a little bit discoloured because I used it on strawberry slush the first time I used it, but it has been cleaned, and the colour doesn't transfer onto anything. It's just stained the photopolymer the first time I used it. And they are numbered 1, 2 and 3, and they do suggest you stamp them in that order. You can stamp them in corresponding colours, but I'm just going to use one colour and do some stamping off. So I'm going to take number 1 and apply it on my block, and I find the easiest way, each one of the stamps has got a little arrow, kind of a positioning arrow. Not sure whether you can see it or not here, and I find it easiest to put that so it's directly upwards, but you can play around with this and, you know, do it any way you like. This is just my preferred method. So I'm going to put number 1 on that side of my block, turn it over and apply number 2 and use the arrow directly up again. So that's number 2. Then number 3 I'm going to put on a separate block, and again put the arrow so it's facing upwards, and hopefully by doing this, when I come to stamp them, it will all line up. And then I'm going to take the 2 stems, I'm going to apply one on one side of this block and one on the other, and hopefully I can see those through there when I come to use them. So I've got my piece of Whisper White, which was 2 5/8 by 8, and I'm going to start by stamping the flower. So as I say, I'm going to use Blackberry Bliss Stampin' Up ink pad for this. So I'll just move that one out of the way for now. So with this one, I'm taking number 1. I'm going to ink it up. And on this one, I'm just going to stamp once, straight from this ink pad. Give it a press and lift up. And I'm just going to clean, got my stamping scrub here, and I'm just going to clean that while it's still wet and dry it. So that's got rid of all the ink now. Okay, so I'm going to take number 2 now, ink it up with Blackberry Bliss, and Blackberry Bliss is quite a strong colour. So ink it up, I'm going to stamp once onto a piece of scrap paper, and then I'm going to line up the arrow. I might have to just get my head in the way of this a little bit. And press down and lift up, and that's given us our second impression. And then I'm going to take number 3 and ink this up. This is the solid last layer. You can see it's quite an intense colour, and this time I'm going to stamp off twice and then line up that arrow again so it's perfectly upright and press, and that gives us, and I've got ink all over my fingers. And now I'm going to stamp up the stems. These Stampin' Up ink pads are very, very juicy, and I have to say I invariably get covered in ink. But, you know, we'll try and rectify this and see if we can disguise it some way. So I'm going to take the first stem, put it into the pistachio pudding, and I'm going to stamp off once and then stamp on there. Then I'm going to turn it over to the second part, ink it up, and this time this one's going to go straight down, and I'm going to try and line it up directly over where I've just stamped. And it doesn't have to be perfect. There you go. Give those a clean, put those out of the way. So that's what we've got so far. I'm going to use my Field of Sky stamp now, which you've probably seen me use before, and I've had this years, and it's by a Stamp in the Hand, but Stampin' Up do a set, I think it's called Gorgeous Grunge, and it's in the catalogue, and there's something very similar to this in there, and there's some other great stamp effects within that stamp set, which is a really nice stamp set. I might get that one next. I'm going to use the pistachio pudding again. Just going to ink this up, and I'm just going to stamp once and then twice without inking, just so it's a little bit faded. And I'm going to get the sentiment now, which I think was from my other stamp set. The sentiment that I'm going to use is "You overwhelm me with your awesomeness," and it's from the Flower Patch stamp set. So I'm going to stamp this up in Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to stamp it across there. And if I get it the right way around, that would help. There you go. So I'll just tidy up all my mess and show you how to put it all together, but that's how it's looking so far. Okay, so I'm just going to now stick this onto the front of here. Just going to use a glue runner for this. And as I say, these are going to be a free gift from me to anybody that purchases anything from my Stampin' Up shop in the month of April 2015. I'm going to make a few of them in different colours, so you may get this one. You may get a pistachio pudding one. But I'm going to do them in other colours as well. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to add a few rhinestones. Put my glasses on, can't see. Couple of little rhinestones just scattered around. I didn't want to put too much bulk on these because, you know, people might be putting them in a handbag or... And I keep mine, I mean this one's going to be mine, the green one, and I'm keeping it on my desk because I go through lots of notepads for shopping lists or notes for videos, all sorts of things, and I'm always going through notepads. So, but you know, these would be nice to keep in a handbag. And just to show you, before I show you them completely finished, because I made mine about 1/8 of an inch bigger here, when I lift this up, I've got a flap that kind of automatically gets me to the page, and because I've stuck this to the underside of this, you're there ready on your pages automatically. So there's the Blackberry Bliss and there's the pistachio pudding. So 2 ink pads, that's all I've used. This one completely in pistachio pudding to match the pistachio pudding card, and this one Blackberry Bliss card with a Blackberry Bliss stamped flower and greeting and a bit of pistachio pudding as an accent colour. So I hope you found that helpful. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.